All right. I think we're ready. Let's try to rock it. Salutations, my friends. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of Factions of Freedom. I'm your host, Noise Era, Freedom Faction, whichever one you prefer. And this is show number 1535, season 15, episode 35. And I have titled this episode, The War Within, Trump RX, and Agents versus Aliens. We truly cannot underscore the historic times that we are in. We've got Secretary of War Pete Hegseth calling all of the vast majority of American generals together to basically say, hey, you need to be prepared for war. You need to be prepared for war. You've got Trump following that up by telling hundreds of generals that, hey, you need to be ready to fight the enemy within. And at the very same time, it's as if these warnings aren't red flags to Antifa and other destabilizing agents. They're attacking more and more ICE facilities. We've got agents being deployed to Chicago, to Portland. It's crazy when you really think about what is actually going down right now. That's what I'm saying. You really cannot underscore the historic time that we are in. You've got Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla literally speaking to the American public after poisoning a vast amount of the population. It's kind of like, it's crazy. We've got supervillains just coming out. The mask is off. It's go time, right? And what's wild is in my own personal life, I'm freaking out. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm like, I can see the wars coming. I can see the internal. I can see the external. I can see the biological weapons. I can see the economic collapse. I can see all of the dominoes being lined up right now. And I'm freaking out. I truly am freaking out. We've got more information on what's going on over there in Dearborn, Michigan. Like I said, we've got ICE agents, 300 ICE agents rappelling down from an apartment building to bust up like a Tren de Aragua gang member complex. It's pretty cool. We'll check it out. A lot of crazy things going on in the world, guys. We'll be talking about digital ID as well and how that is the biblical mark of the beast. Like that's what's happening. The control grid is being erected. They are shutting down the exits. They are locking us in, and it's going to be pretty crazy, man. Like, I think that's ultimately like what I have to realize myself is that the mindset of everything that's going down right now, the mindset of me, the mindset of you, the social engineering, everything that's happening right now, it's leading us somewhere. And we won't be able to go back to the ways that it was before. I think that's just the easiest way to say it. We're doing our very level-headed best to try to like remain civil, remain decent, remain wholesome. But part of the accelerationism, part of the being in the event horizon, part of being this dialed in and this locked in is the only way out is going through. And that's what you're seeing is a doubling down effect. People locking in. Consciousness is being seared You see certain personalities coming up. We got a lot of different things to talk to you guys about in this, again, historic transmission. And I say that because it's just escalating. Welcome to October. Welcome to October. With that being said, let me go ahead and jump into the updates in the intro, and then we'll go ahead and kick it off from there. I just want to hit this stuff as hard as I can. If you guys want to support this operation, the best way to do so is to go to patreon.com/noise, patreon.com/NOIZCE. That's the best way to support this operation in this current configuration. And I say that because we have begun posting on Instagram again. We've been posting on Instagram again, and I'll just come out flat out and tell you guys, like straight up, if you want more shows, if you want fellowship and freedom back, you want Tuesday shows back, you want exclusive member shows back, I've got to see the feedback from the audience. If you have been listening sequentially this far and you have been just paying attention, you really do need to support us, because I do want to do more. And there's only so much that I can do in my own life to set all of this up. You know, we're capable of doing more. Like I'm sitting here thinking about just a couple of posts that we put on Instagram this week. And again, the compendium of knowledge that they took from us. There's 306,000 followers. And what's beautiful is I've been getting hit backs. A lot of people jumping in the DMs. A lot of people still remember the handle. It's beautiful. I want to do more. Help me do more. Don't just expect me to magically make more stuff happen. Help me do more. Patreon.com/NOIZCE. That's the best way to support this operation in this current configuration. We're going to be doing more. The 6-hour shows may not always be here, right? Even if the stuff is intensifying, there's still more ways to get all of this stuff out. And I want you guys to help. Like that's really it. I could jump into a whole spiel about, again, all the work that we've done, the history, what's ahead of us, the historic times, but it boils down to money. It boils down to support. Do you support us? So do you support yourself? Why do you think we're doing this? This turn, how do you think we've gotten to this point that we've evolved? We are going to do more, and you're going to have to support in one way, shape, and form, whether it be through a like, a share, a subscribe, whatever it is. I'm saying monetarily, that's the best thing to do, to be 1,000% honest with you. You've seen what we've done in the past. You know what we're capable of. You know what I want us to do for the future. Patreon.com/noise. That's the best way to support this operation. I want to do Tuesday shows. I'm talking to the folks for Fellowship and Freedom to bring that back 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time every single Sunday. I want to have bi-weekly exclusive member meetings. Where is the audience reciprocation? And who knows, maybe I need to plug more. Maybe I need to ring the bell a little bit louder. Hey, we need your support. I'm doing everything I can. Are you? Patreon.com/noise. That's the best way to support this operation. I don't want to belabor that point anymore. We will talk more about that later on in the show. But understand, we have over 500 plus episodes, which you can download over on Spreaker, Amazon, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, Alexa, and every other major podcasting platform. And I bet if we had more support, we could be on even more platforms. You want to see the face? You want to see the video? Patreon.com/noise. That's the best way to support us. But we already have over 500 plus episodes that date back at least to 2014, showing the work that we've done. We've recently been able to recover our YouTube channels from 2014, our Noise Era account, as well as our backup account. We are also broadcasting on Odyssey as well, which has content all the way back to 2018, right? And that's what I'm saying. We've got a broad audience because we're appealing to a lot of different personality types and also a lot of different demographics. This is the work, because it's not like this isn't entertainment. This is the work. This is what we are doing. We look at this type of stuff to understand who we are. Most people don't understand their politics, man. And I think what's crazy is last week you guys kind of heard a little bit of this. You heard my xenophobia, my Islamophobia, stuff like that. But it's not even that. It's me saying, hey, we're under attack and they're using all of our open freedoms against us. We need to wake up from the spell and get in an attack formation. Things are changing, guys, and we're changing with them. Again, you guys can see where we've gotten to, because, again, we have over 500 plus episodes that date back to 2014. We're grinding. You can find the links to our Discord, Telegram, as well as our Instagram. Like I said, we've been posting again. We've been getting a lot of great feedback, people jumping into the DMs. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of guests on here soon, and we'll be appearing on other people's shows as well. Again, you can support us through Patreon, patreon.com/noise, NOIZCE, as well as through Coffee, PayPal, and Cash App. Those goodness and all that is in the description bar below. Support yourself by getting some New Leaf Naturals CBD oil with promo code FOF25. You can get 10 to 30% off, as well as storable goods. I was doing some videos earlier this week and just posting on Instagram talking about like spiritual hygiene and how demons are like parasites. And in the back, I don't know if you guys saw, but you could see some of my storable goods. And I'm going to be getting more and a couple of other things as well. You can find the links for all this and more in the description bar below. And with that being said, like I said, I don't want to belabor the point. Let's jump right into the show. A lot of different things we got to hit, and we'll pick it up from there. Let's kick off the transmission with a broadcast or a video from the world of science showing us more and more like the anomalous weather that's going on. Earthquakes in the Philippines. Kilauea volcano in Hawaii erupting. Followed by houses submerging in Buxton, North Carolina. This time flooding in El Salvador on the 29th of September. We're over here in Chilapa, Mexico, on the 27th of September, and they're experiencing torrential rains and flooding as it just goes straight through this town. Children being rescued from submerged vehicles. Again, we're just seeing footage of a town submerged, the entire first floor. Zaragoza, Spain, on the 28th of September, also experiencing torrential floods and rains. Landslides in Vietnam. Beautiful. Now they're playing clips of somebody skydiving over Nottinghamshire in the UK.
It's making you cry every time you give your love to me this way, saying you'd wait for me to stay. I know it hurts you, but I need to tell you something.
Beautiful. The world of signs, ladies and gentlemen. The world of signs, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. You know, it's wild. I'm looking at this, hearing about earthquakes, landslides, flooding, torrential rain, and you can't help but wonder, what's it all for? It's like there are so many signs of the times. There are so many signs showing where we are, prophetically speaking, chronologically speaking. And this is why they've lied about everything, because they didn't want us to know. But I'm looking at all these things and I'm just wondering where it's all going to lead us. We've got a clip coming up very shortly about UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer saying the quiet part out loud, but we've admitted or had the realization of just the other week that the climate change, so-called climate change, this anomalous weather that we continue to see, is what's destroying the environment and forcing these so-called migrants, Muslims, illegals, wherever they are, wherever they come from, to more stabilized areas. We'll talk more about that later on when we play the clip, but I'm looking at all this and I can't help think some of it's induced, some of it's a byproduct of it. Again, some of it's because of where we are at, chronologically speaking. And again, just the surface that we live on, how we're not really here for a long time, how we are a race of people with amnesia. I'm going to go ahead and say this, then we'll go ahead and move forward. But realize that every single time we're playing the world of signs and we're starting the episode off with that, we're soft shilling his operation, and he gets support. Maybe we need to start soft shilling support for ourselves. Let's see. Pope Leo blesses a block of ice for climate justice. Kid you not. Holy Ice. This is by Hayden Cunningham of Post Millennial. They put this up October 1st. And there you see him right there, standing next to the blessed piece of ice. It says that Pope Leo, what is that? Is that the 24th or the 14th? Yeah, Pope Leo the 14th blessed a block of ice at a climate change event on Wednesday, part of his ongoing efforts to highlight environmental concerns and criticize those who, quote, ridicule those who speak of global warming. The event marked the 10th anniversary of the late Pope's encyclical Laudato, Laudato Si, which calls on Catholics to care for the environment and address climate change. During the ceremony, Leo placed his hand on a block of ice in front of a crowd and blessed the water dripping from it, saying, quote, Lord of life, bless this water. May it awaken our hearts, cleanse our indifference, soothe our grief, and renew our hope through Christ our Lord. The display drew backlash online, with conservative Catholic commentators questioning why the Pope focused on blessing a block of ice instead of more pressing issues. It looks like there's a video clip right here. Maybe we could play Pope Leo blessing this ice. What do you guys think about that? Holy ice. Yep, here it is. Let's play the clip. That was it. That was the blessing. Walked up, put his hand on it, held his breath, and then proceeded to walk away. But this is it. This is the holy ice that Pope Leo blesses. And so what this tells us is that Pope Leo is going to push more and more of the agenda. I think we have another video too coming up with Pope Leo. Let me finish reading this article, then I'll pull that up. It says that at the event, Leo emphasized the need for governments worldwide to take stronger action on climate change. According to the Associated Press, the Pope expressed hope that the upcoming UN climate conference would, quote, listen to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. Citing text from Pope Francis's 2023 encyclical, Leo criticized leaders who have chosen to, quote, deride the evident signs of climate change. And so, again, my thought process is we see all this stuff going on. We know that this is, again, a part of a larger agenda, that they've been jacking with the environment for years, that they've been spraying, stratospheric aerosol injections, chemtrails, geoengineering, weather modification, to where now they can come through and say, oh, look at all these bad things. Aren't humans bad? We need to reshape our entire environment for it. We need to chastise human activity. We need to demonize actual human engagement. And we need to let AI run everything because humans have wrecked the planet. So now we have the Pope blessing a piece of ice. Should we play this video clip where he actually goes through and, blesses it instead of just putting his hand on it? It's a couple minutes long. We won't play it in its entirety, but let's go ahead and get it up here for posterity, and then we'll move forward from there. Here he is. I have to go bless that ice.
Lord of life, bless this water. May it awaken our hearts, cleanse our indifference, soothe our grief, and renew our hope through Christ our Lord. Lord, bless this assembly, this conference. May the dialogue we engage in contain respect for all gathered here and the entire Earth community. May we work towards a flourishing of all creation, held in being by our Creator, through Christ our Lord.
Creation awaits our conversion. We commit to raising hope and to continuing to unfold a river of hope. We move from tears to hope, from grief to action. Let us speak our pledges. Each help us to unfold this river of hope. After each pledge, we invite you to sing the refrain, Laudate si, mi Signor, con tutte le tue creature.
Okay, I think we've had enough so far. Let's go ahead and move forward. Trump admin plans moon village by 2035. This comes from the National Pulse. They put this up September 29th. It says that Secretary of Transportation and NASA Administrator Sean Duffy has announced plans to establish a permanent presence on the moon by 2035. Speaking at the International Aeronautical Congress in Sydney, Australia, Duffy said this, quote, "We are going to have sustained human life on the moon, not just an outpost, but a village." It says this initiative will be driven by the Artemis program, which is set to return humans to the lunar surface for the first time since the Apollo era. Artemis 2, scheduled for February 2026, will test both the Space Launch System rocket and the Orion spacecraft in a crewed mission around the moon. The follow-up, Artemis 3, targets a 2027 lunar landing. Unlike previous missions, astronauts will remain on the moon for a full week, gathering critical data to support long-term habitation. To sustain operations during the moon's 14-day night, when solar power is unavailable, NASA plans to deploy a compact nuclear reactor. The fission surface power system, as it is called, must weigh under 15 tons and produce 100 kilowatts of electricity, enough to support life support systems, equipment, and communications infrastructure. NASA is currently seeking industry partners to help develop the reactor. Construction of the base itself may rely heavily on lunar resources. NASA is exploring ways to mix lunar soil with binding agents to create a form of cement, which could be used with 3D printing technologies to build structures on site. These methods are not only intended for the moon, but also may play a role in the future Mars missions requiring long-term human presence. Quote, "We're going back to the moon, and this time we want to plant our flag. We stayed," Duffy said. He framed the effort as part of a, quote, "new space race with the United States aiming to stay ahead of the rivals such as China in space exploration and technology." Meanwhile, on Mars, the Perseverance rover recently collected a rock sample that may show signs of ancient microbial life. Although scientists caution the evidence, it is not definitive. NASA is also monitoring a house-sized asteroid set to pass near Earth, and in deep space, Voyager 1 has begun transmitting garbled data as it travels beyond the edge of our solar system. Moon villages by 2035. What do you guys think? You think you're going to make it on the spaceship? You think you're going to make it onto the moon or to wherever it is that they take you? And there's a lot of different ways we could cut this up. We didn't go to the moon. It was a production. Stanley Kubrick talked about it. Stanley Kubrick, Philip K. Dick, all these people talk about like, no, we didn't go to the moon. It was a production. We put this together. And if you've been listening to the show sequentially, you've heard me talk about how I don't think aliens are coming from Galaplaxius 9. I think they're from within. So a moon village by 2035, what would that look like? We've got Elon Musk firing off rockets left and right. Do you think he'll be able to fire a rocket onto the moon? I don't think so. I think they'll be able to create like other environments, right? Other environments, enclosed areas that can simulate what we think of as the moon's surface. Like when we start talking about Asgardia, space nations, blasting off into space, that's a whole different thing. Longtime listeners of the show know I've talked about this as well, how this is part of the plan. This is how you know they're about to get ready to release a bioweapon, right? A bioweapon or some type of like nuclear event, because they're going to get ready to send themselves off into space. They're going to watch, quote unquote, space. They're going to watch from the distance. They're going to watch from one of their 170 different deep underground military bases. They're going to watch as humanity rips itself apart. And then they're going to come out on the ashes and the rubble and establish a new world order out on top of that. So when we talk about moon villages, breakaway civilizations, space force, the military industrial complex, the new space race, that gets very complicated because it's very nuanced. They've talked about mining asteroids. We've covered it on previous episodes. Directed energy weapons from satellites in space, maneuvering different satellites, right? Because now we're talking about expansionism, human expansion. In a weird, like, what's crazy is if I didn't go down the rabbit hole of flat Earth, I would definitely be way more pro, let's do this. But part of me thinks, since we know that the moon was a very, very elaborate play, and that we have things such as AI, Grok, Sora, Gemini, all of these different things to generate what we think of as real footage, it would be very easy to deep fake an environment. And that's for production purposes. It wouldn't be that hard to create like a domed enclosure in some remote area of the world and say, oh, this is Mars. You know, the Truman Show type stuff. So when we talk about moon villages, asteroid mining, breakaway civilizations, Asgardia, the first space nation, we've talked about that. People who want to abdicate their literal humanity and become spacers, because that's going to be a thing as well. Children that are born in space. This is future. This is the future. And it doesn't have to be, again, in Galaxy 9, all the way in the deep reaches of space. It can be in like our upper atmosphere. It can be in the stratosphere. It can be like where we don't see them. Who's to say that they're not already operating there and that there's not already some type of human civilization there? I don't know, man. Future's getting kind of wild. We'll talk more about that as we progress. But understand that's what's happening. They're trying to create like a control grid for the world here, and they want to set themselves up as the guardians of the galaxy and monitor and manage humans. And I know that sounds so fantastical. It sounds so crazy, but it's even more fantastical and crazy than I could ever define. Remember James Bond's Moonraker? People like operating in satellites, that's stuff that's been going on. You want to talk about black budget projects, breakaway civilizations, the deep state, rogue, not even rogue governments or rogue elements of a government, but people that have left their governments and are doing something else entirely. This is where we're at. This is the future. And here is Klaus Schwab talking about creating and controlling just that future.
Is a pioneering effort to use the metaverse for the public good, to create global cooperation and to strengthen global cooperation in the metaverse or using metaverse technologies. And we are pleased to create this global collaboration village in cooperation with Accenture and with Microsoft. So the idea is to bring all the stakeholders, governments, business, civil society, together on a continued, sustained basis. This is the next phase, the next big phase of development in the virtual world. The Global Collaboration Village is the prime.
So we're being told that we're going to go to space and you're going to get the metaverse and it's going to be so awesome. And it sounds like Ready Player One to me. Have you guys seen that movie, dystopian movie? Everybody's jacked into the metaverse, playing inside of the metaverse. But you just have like elites in the background controlling the metaverse. Humans think they have free will. But even the people controlling the metaverse have bosses themselves. Where do you think the bosses are located? They can't be on the dystopian Earth. Humans have nothing else to do. They'll come find them. They either have to be underground or above ground where humans can't get them. So when we're talking about the control grid being erected, it is the metaverse. It is the technocracy. It is the digital ID. Panoptic surveillance, biometric surveillance of everything. And then it's like some sci-fi movie where, oh, do you want to get off world? Are you tired of living on Earth? Do you not want to play the metaverse video game anymore? Have you saved up enough carbon credits to where you can go join the people on the space colony? It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because this is the future. As we see society break down, and I meant to put this into the next segment's notes when we talk about ICE being deployed, National Guard, and how all of that's been pre-programmed since like 2016 with Operation Thunderstorm Spiral. We covered it. I'll try to find it during one of these breaks. But as we see civil society begin to break down, you're going to see new cities popping up, enclaves popping up. This is why whenever Antifa a couple years ago did their whole Chaz Chop operation, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone or the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest Area, I was like, what is this? Because it was so groundbreaking. Because you have people that are like, you know what, we're going to stop working. We're going to donate our resources and time to this area, and we're going to say F the government. You're going to see so many different variations of what humanity is that in a weird way, like this is the last gas. Like we might have peaked in the 90s and we've been on a downtrend relatively since 2000s. And Donald Trump is representing that last little bounce right before we continue that trend. And so we're talking about spacers, the metaverse, the breakdown of civil society, infrastructure collapsing because people don't want to work anymore. What do you think that future really looks like? That's why they're trying to roll out the Doge. That's why they're rolling out the AI. That's why they're rolling out the robots. Hell yeah, they've already killed a fair amount of people, 30 million plus with the jabs. This is what it sounds like whenever you're trying to construct, again, a new world. And that's exactly what these people are doing. I've been saying it. They want to create a matrix to capture our minds. And they want to create this control grid to monitor everything we do. Here's Keir Starmer saying just that, announcing the biblical mark of the beast just this past Friday. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announces mandatory digital ID for the right to work in the UK. This literally is this is the Bible. This is prophetic. And it just happened.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. And that is why.
It's as simple as that, because it really is. It's biblical. Like maybe we should just pull the quote up right now. Like what things like Revelation 6. Let's look it up real quick. A mark of the beast, biblical quote. Pretty sure. Nope, it's not Revelation chapter 6. It's Revelation chapter 13. Let's go ahead and get that up. Oh, come on. Yeah, there it is, Bible study tools. Let's do that. I'm getting derailed, but it's important that we talk about the biblical mark of the beast before we talk about our timelines, digital ID. Let me just go ahead and get the actual verse. I don't want to hear people's interpretation of it. I want to see like the actual verse. I should have found this out beforehand. Oh my God. It says Revelation chapter 16 and verse 2 and 19 verse 20 cite the quote mark of the beast as a significant as a sign that identifies those who worship the beast of the sea. So let's see if we can get Revelation chapter 16. Sorry about this, guys. I got all fired up. I got to do this now. Autism thing kicking in. Chapter 16 verse 2. No, that's not it either. Maybe it's 19. I just want to talk about where it says he causes all, both great and small, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark. That's what it is. That's what we're dealing with, and that's where we're going. We're talking about end of days political type stuff right there. But the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet who had performed the signs. With these signs he had deluded those who had received the mark of the beast and worshiped the image. I'm not going to find it, guys. I'm not going to find it. I'm too fired up, and I got way too much stuff to get through. This is a unnecessary derailing. Let's get over here to this, where we're talking about mandatory digital ID, the right to work, the biblical mark of the beast, and how we all know that's what's going down. They want programmable money. They want to create a system to where you're not allowed to work unless you bend the knee. We saw echoes of this during COVID, during the pandemic. And that's why it was so scary, because that was them making their move, becoming proactive. And here we are a couple years later, and they're saying you will not be able to work unless you take it. I really should have found that quote or published a place that featured it in there, because it's important to talk about it in a time frame where we have Israeli occupation coming over here into our government, telling us that they're going to come after Christians and that they need to support Zionism. This is crazy. We are literally in biblical end of days. They are creating a totalitarian system to rob you of everything you have unless you submit. And this is how they'll be able to get through their carbon goals, their carbon initiatives. This is how they'll be able to allot you your carbon credits, your footprint. I played a video clip, or I threw it into our Instagram story, and it talked just about Revelation 6. That was the scripture where they sought death, but they wouldn't be able to find it. In the very future that these people are trying to create with life extension, they want to have synthetic immortality. You'll just literally have to pay to live. You'll have to work. You'll have to earn credits. And that's the anti-human system you see these people creating. And it starts with stuff like this. Let me read this article so we can get a little more resetted, and then we'll move forward. It says the British government said on Friday it would require every employee to hold a digital identity document. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's latest attempt to tackle illegal migration and reduce the threat from the populist Reform UK party. It says addressing the Global Progress Action Summit alongside the leaders of Canada, Australia, and Iceland, Starmer said his left-leaning Labour government, like others, had been, quote, squeamish about discussing voters' concerns on immigration. The Reuters Daily Briefing newsletter has a little bit more. I should have taken that out. And it says that had allowed parties such as Reform UK to gain popularity, Starmer said, acknowledging that the party led by Brexit veteran Nigel Farage was likely to be Labour's main challenger at the next election. That is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. So I love how it's like a beneficial thing. They say like it's a positive thing. It's free of charge, but you have to take it. It's free of charge. Take this free pass that allows you to work. Please, sir, can I work? You have to petition the government, and they will bestow upon you the right to feed yourself. This is where we are now. But because people are just going along with it, they don't understand, they don't care, they think, what's the big point? It's going to get implemented. Oh, well, we need to keep track of the migrants. Let's give them digital ID. And you think the migrants are going to care about prophecy, prophetic unfolding, any of this type of stuff? No, they just want to work. So you see how it's all woven together, right? Oh, well, here's how we can track illegal immigration. Here's how we can verify that you're an actual human being, a citizen, a patriot. And it's all just one elaborate scam to keep the machine going. Here's Keir Starmer talking about climate change and how it brings in immigrants into the UK.
And poverty, climate change. I think we need to look at every aspect of illegal migration, upstream, looking at the causes, which of course are often poverty, climate change, persecution, look at the causes. I think we need to look at every aspect of illegal migration, upstream, looking at the causes, which of course are often poverty, climate change, persecution.
Yeah, we'll see about that. You know, I'm listening to him speak, and I can't help but think he's espousing Agenda 21 sustainable development goals from these globalists, where they say they want to eradicate poverty. And I mean, over here in America, we're dealing with the government being shut down right now. A lot of people are saying that it's because the Democrats want to give free health care to the illegals. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. But ultimately, like, what it is these people, these elitists on top, farming humans and individuals. They can position themselves as if they're, sincere and decent. We care about them. We want to eliminate poverty. But ultimately, it's an end game to try to get them on your plantation. You see, that's what every different nation has become, to this like supranational government, a plantation, a farm, and each one having various benefits that aren't really any benefits. They're all just the same thing, just repackaged differently. And so we're going to see the very same thing here in America. That's what a lot of people are able to say to get in here legally and lawfully. They're leaving war-torn countries or uninhabitable zones and things of this nature. But there you have UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer saying that we need to look at all the different factors of immigration, and this includes climate change. The climate change from the several plus years worth of geoengineering, weather modification, stratospheric aerosol injections, HARP, earthquake weapons, directed energy weapons, things like this. So where can we take all these people? Let's just bring them over here and create laws that disempower actual native-born citizens and empower illegal individuals. You see how this creates like this semblance of a global community, but it's all just one big lie. It's all just one big scam. But it's all to do this: a global government, so a global citizen, so you can have a global government, a global system. So you can create the one world government, the one world religion, the one world army. That's what I'm saying. We are in those days, but because we're not reading our Bibles, we're not talking about this stuff as important as it is, we're just playing these events out. And then because we have the Bible, we know where this ends. So that's all you're seeing. Just biblical fulfillment, prophetic fulfillment, to where you have people proudly saying, let's create the mark of the beast. Let's control humanity. Let's create this scientific dictatorship, this technocratic system that demonizes actual human behavior and chastises them if they go outside of their allotment. You've all seen the episodes of the social credit score system of Black Mirror, where some chick says one bad thing and somebody hears it, and then she loses points, and then you basically see her downgrade into the lower ranks of society simply for not playing along. Yeah, they want to create a metaverse to lock your mind and throw you in there. But for the people that aren't in there, they want to gamify reality and social engineer you, so you're more and more obedient. And it starts with stuff like this. If they can roll it, and I'm ranting, if they can roll out this digital ID, they can control your money. They can program your behavior, and ultimately they can engineer society in ways we can't comprehend. Here's another video talking just about digital ID as well. I'm not sure who this individual is, but he's talking about UN Agenda 2030 and how it's in total compliance with digital ID.
Can have programmability. The one final note I will make is that if you think about the benefits of digital money, there are huge potential gains. It's not just about digital forms of physical currency. You can have programmability, units of central bank currency with expiry dates. You could have, as I argue in my book, a potentially better and some people might see it as a darker world where the government decides that units of central bank money can be used to purchase some things, but not other things that it deems less desirable, like say ammunition or drugs or pornography or something of the sort. And that is very powerful in terms of the use of a CBDC, and I think also extremely dangerous for central banks. Because ultimately, if you have different units of central bank money with different characteristics, or if you use central bank money as a conduit for economic policies in a very targeted way, or more broadly for social policies, that could really affect the integrity of central bank money and the integrity and independence of central banks. So there are wonderful notions of things that can be done with digital money. But again, I fear that technology could take us to a better place, but equally has the potential to take us to a pretty dark place.
Yeah, I guess I'm black-pilled. I think and know that it's going to take us to a dark place. Oh, you want to use your money to purchase ammunition? Oh, you want to use your money to purchase like ivermectin? What? You want to take care of yourself? We can't have that. We can't have that. So we're going to lock you down. And we saw this. I've got a video clip about this coming up in Vietnam, where they just wiped out millions of bank accounts of individuals that didn't comply. Think about how much money was just lost right there. Think about how many families were impacted in just that one sweeping action. But that's the kind of financial power they wield. That's the kind of control that they want in your life. Here's Whitney Webb talking just about that control.
As the new form of government-issued identification credentials. And they're essentially all based on your biometric data, which can be your fingerprints, your face, the iris of your eyeball. And the idea is essentially to collect all of that data and have it housed or have it tied directly to your digital ID. So your physical ID will be mapped to the digital ID. Digital IDs are not really a separate project from CBDCs and this new digital financial system. And UN documentation and also documentation from the Bank of International Settlements, they very overtly state that CBDCs and digital IDs are meant to go together. And without digital IDs, the CBDC digital finance system cannot exist. They have to know who you are. And so they want to have your wallet tied to a digital ID and have that digital ID be mapped to your physical ID through the biometric data collection. One of the main reasons for this coordinated global push to develop digital IDs is because it's deemed essential to the entire Sustainable Development Agenda, which is the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, also known as Agenda 2030. And the specific part dealing with digital IDs is within SDG 16, which is about building peaceful and inclusive societies. One of the indicators of SDG 16, 16.9, calls for legal identification for everyone in the world from the time they're born, essentially. One of the main words they use to market this stuff is equity and inclusion. The idea that we need to include everybody in these new systems. But if you don't participate in digital ID, you won't have a legally recognized identity. You won't have rights. You won't be able to access services without it. So it's being framed as promoting inclusion, but the system itself is inherently exclusionary and has been used to track and surveil people, to link people to, essentially all their activities, what they say online in some of the countries that have rolled this out, and has been used to facilitate human rights abuses. So it's not exactly as inclusive as they like to claim. It's inclusive in the sense that we want everyone equally included in our new system that we're creating. our new control system, fundamentally. What happened with the vaccine passport was to link your identity to your travel, to the freedom of movement. And if you didn't have one, you were excluded from entering certain places. So that, again, highlights the idea of how these digital IDs are inherently exclusionary, because if you don't have one, then you're excluded from, moving where other people that have those privileges. And if you don't abide by these various stipulations, you're excluded from participating in those things.
And the second beast was permitted to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship it to be killed. And the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of its name. That was Revelation chapter 13, verses 15 through 17. Digital ID is the biblical mark of the beast. They are going to require every man, woman, child, free person, slave, great and small, to receive this mark in order to buy and sell. Because this mark, this number, and they'll be able to link it up with their AI systems, this number will be able to calculate your basic value of this evil demonic systems. That's what you're seeing with the AI rollout. That's why I keep mentioning your carbon footprint, your greenhouse gases, credits, the petition to live. Think about the panoptic biometric surveillance system that these people are trying to create. If they get this digital ID in, like Whitney Webb said, they'll be able to see all of your purchasing habits, your purchase patterns, your favorite place to eat. How do you pay your bills? Do you go on vacations? Are you buying ammunition? Are you supporting somebody named Freedom Faction? And through that, because they have pre-crime software and all this other AI garbage running around, all this slop, they'll be able to determine whether or not you're a threat. And they'll war game it out. They'll see, is this person going to be a future threat? The digital ID means so much more. Just the other week, I was talking to you guys about how they have a mirror world technology. That's what the digital ID is. They need you to get that, accept the mark, so they can integrate you into their system and then slowly and gradually be able to control you. There are already reports out from people who were abusing ChatGPT and getting reverse brainwashed. It's crazy. We've done it. Go look at our video we did earlier a couple months back. Soul absorption. You are the star and technology is the gate. These people want to control you. They want to control society. They literally want to tokenize natural resources. They want to allow you, they want to give you an allotment of how much water you can have. I put a video out about this maybe earlier this week on our Instagram. You guys can go see it. But we now have companies, most likely BlackRock or one of their shell companies, taking over people's thermostats because they want to be able to control people's environment due to increased demand. EU declares that U.S. citizens who refuse the biometric digital ID will be barred from Europe. This comes from Bachelor Dimitri from the People's Voice. They put this up September 30th. It says on October 25th or October 12th, 2025, a new era of digital control arrives for Americans traveling to Europe. Nearly 30 countries, including most of the EU, will force U.S. visitors to hand over their fingerprints, facial scans, and other intimate biometric data before they even cross the border. It says passport stamps are gone. Every movement, every arrival, and departure will be tracked and stored in a central EU database for years, creating a permanent digital record of your presence on foreign soil. Compliance isn't optional, and once the system is in place, privacy as travelers have known it will effectively disappear. This isn't about just, quote, streamlining immigration or, quote, border security, as officials claim. The mandatory collection of biometric data gives governments unprecedented access to your physical identity, all stored in a system that could be linked to other digital ID programs in the future. Refuse to comply, and you won't get in. Even children under 12 aren't entirely
If you're planning
exempt.
a trip to Europe, you're going to have to hand over way more than your passport when you get there. As part of a new entry-exit system, visitors to most European countries will have to provide 4 fingerprints and a facial photo at a self-operated kiosk. The information will be stored for 3 years, with the photo being used for ID verification on later visits. Travelers who refuse to provide their biometric data will be denied entry. The goal of the program is to enhance security and speed up border crossings, it is said. The new system is set to be rolled out over 6 months, starting in October, and applies to 29 countries, including popular destinations like France, Italy, and Spain.
Yeah, it's like they're already doing it. They're already rolling it out. Nobody voted on this. We don't really get to have like a discussion about it. It's just something that they're doing.
86 million bank accounts. They've frozen them, seized the assets, but they've closed the accounts. And that's 43% of all the accounts. There's around 200 million in Vietnam. Really? And the quote that they give is, prevent fraud and cybercrime. It's always in your best interest, except when it isn't. Can you imagine that number, 86 million, how many millions of people and families that have actually gone into serious, serious trouble because they cannot access their account, either because they refused or couldn't give, the digital ID. That's what they wanted. You had to register a digital ID with biometric data. Give more of your privacy away without your choice. And if you don't do it, we'll take your money, whether you like it or not. And the Canadian government has already shown us how to do this, because they closed the accounts of the truckers because of a peaceful protest. How the people that authorize that are not in jail serving long sentences, well, is anybody's guess. But the serious point here is it's coming here. They're pushing for digital IDs. And what's going to be the pushback? When is it going to stop? We had it during COVID. Oh, just get one vaccination and you'll be fine. And then they took away your permissions after you got your vaccine and said, no, actually you need another one, and then another one. The point is, these type of people, they keep on taking more and more. The more we give away our freedom, our power, the more they'll take. We are on the edge of a cliff. We don't actually act now and start saying enough is enough. Whether we have to form a brand new government, whatever it is we have to do, or just stop using cards, we have to show that we are not going to allow this or accept this. Because we all stopped going to work, or we all stopped using our cards, they'd pretty much listen to us rather quickly. And that's a choice we still have at the moment. If cash disappears, that choice is gone forever. And I wouldn't like to think of the world where we are controlled, where we can drive, where we can fly, what food we can eat, and the bank can choose whether to let you make that purchase or not. That's a dangerous road. And it really is quite scary, because just think of COVID during those times, you would be in deep trouble. You either get whatever the government's pushing, whether it's that, whether it's something else, whether it's a digital ID, or you pay the price. This isn't a democracy. This isn't freedom, and we should resist it as much as we can by choosing. Always choose an option that keeps our freedom alive. And at the moment, cash is the one thing that we still have a choice with. Think about it. Otherwise, where are we going to end up? I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. This is scary Orwellian stuff that if we don't do something about it, it is going to be too late. Pull ourselves back from this cliff before we do go over. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for the report, my friend. You know, what I was talking about earlier in the show about just the breakdown of civilization and how you're going to see it. You're going to see it is because of stuff like this. Yeah, he's right. If we all did just stop using our cards, stop using our cars, what would that society look like? Will we become agrarian? Will we become like the Amish? Are the Amish going to have to get digital ID? And so you're going to see that. You already see people leaving society, trying to go hang out in the woods because they're aware of what's happening inside of these cities. And you're going to see cities getting closed off. You're going to see, again, new cities being popped up. Everything I'm talking about is on its own different cooked timeline. So when he's discussing digital ID being implemented, this is how they're pioneering the new society. And when I'm talking about civil society breaking down, law and order, destabilization, that's old world order stuff. They don't care about that anymore. And that's why you see some of these cities in states either being sunshine states or sinkhole states, because they're moving all of society to a completely different way of being. You're going to see in your time frame new cities being built up, same way you're already seeing 15-minute cities being built up, because there are people that are going to go along with this. There's going to be people that fight this, and there's going to be people that just up and leave and say, I don't want to be a part of society anymore. And they're going to participate, like I said, either in like an Amish type capacity or an agrarian type capacity, or just, again, away from civil society. And so you have to think about where you're going to be. How much are you going to compromise on? And he's right. This is scary stuff. That's why it was talked about in the Bible. It's prophetic what we're dealing with, because this isn't an easy system. You see, this isn't going to be like an overnight thing. This is absolute control over like human beings. And when we talk about what's been done to the population because of the jab, the fetal malformations, the epigenetic assault, the multi-generational damage that's being done, how these people want to capture procreation, you have to think about, again, the very sinister level of everything that we're discussing right here. And it starts with digital ID. Who voted on this? Who agreed to this? How do we push back against this? Here's Catherine Austin Fitz talking about digital ID as well.
All of your health and food policies to you. All the great work that you have done in health and all the great work you have done in food to preserve food and health freedom, the minute they get financial transaction control, they will delete all of it. They will negate all of it. They will reverse all of it. Financial control and controlling the financial transaction train tracks is the meta control that they will use to control food and health. So I don't care what you're doing in the food and health area. If these guys get 100% digital system with a digital ID and programmable money, guess what? They're going to dictate, you don't get your vaccine this month, they're going to turn off your money. You don't transgender your kid, they're going to turn off your money. Wow. They're going to dictate all of your health and food policies to you. So we did a wonderful report in Solari called Pharma Food on lab-grown meat and essentially artificial food. And when I read it, I couldn't understand, how did they think they're going to market this? And that's when I realized, oh, programmable money is how they're going to market.
Yeah, that's how it works. Cash is king. But if they can make the digital dollar seem better than your devalued dollar, you're going to take him. And what is that clip that we always play at the end of the show where they're like, oh, we're going to give every single human being their own number. It'll simplify their lives tremendously. They always couch it as if it's like some altruistic, decent thing, like they're helping us. Thanks, big brother. Yeah, we just want to be able to surveil your entire life, both online and offline. We want to see what you buy. We want to see what you're selling. We want to see who you're communicating with. And how are they going to pitch this to the public? Oh, well, you want to keep track of the illegals, right? You want to have all of your medical records, all of your bank information. You want to have all that centralized, right? Just get it on your phone. It'll be easy. And you'll have to have a phone, and then you'll get tired of having a phone, and then they'll roll out a new immersive, invasive type of technology some type of implant, a brain chip, you might say, that has all this information. But then imagine if you wake up from that. Imagine if you don't want to be sterilized by the jab, or if you don't want to mutilate children through transgenderism. Oh, well, that's racist and homophobic. You're not eating today. This is the kind of control, the meta control, and I'm going to use that more. You heard Catherine Austin Fitch just say that, the meta control that they want to have. It's soft power. They're not directly telling you things the same way they didn't tell you to take a COVID shot. Meta control. They just kind of recommended and suggested it, and if you didn't, you were barred from civil society. And that was the beginning of it. Show me your papers. Prove to me that you're a slave, that you bent the knee. And what do they say to every single person that didn't take the jab? We were a grandma killer. We killed your grandma. Anti-vaxxers. Stupid idiots. And other things that Stephen Colbert would say, because they would berate you. And the same thing will happen with these digital ID. They'll put people up there. They'll prop them up there. They'll get some influencer, most likely paid by Israel. Who knows? She'll have $7,000. We got an article coming up about that later on in the show, next segment, that Israel is paying influencers roughly $7,000 to post. They'll get some influencer up there. And she'll be like, oh my gosh, I just got my digital ID. Like, look at all the things I can do. I can travel. Yay. And then you'll have some simps and some bozos on Instagram saying, oh, I want to travel. I want to be like her. I want to be like influencer. I'm going to start a page and do that. And they're going to do it. And then one by one, you're going to create like a collective and a community, and then it'll become mandatory. But for the people that don't want to get the jab or don't want to get the digital ID, we're going to be chastised. We're going to be ostracized. We're going to be demonized. Are you an illegal? Are you a real American? Huh? You're not up to any crime, are you? You're a good person, right? Take the chip. Take the jab. And so what you saw during COVID was preparation for what's rolling out now. And they ironed out their kinks during the pandemic. And now they're just soft rolling all this stuff out now to meta control society. And as somebody that has been debanked, deplatformed, shadow banned, they haven't programmed my money. But to try to fight these people after they cut your legs off, it's an uphill battle. And most people will give in. Most people will. But you can't. Here is El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele calling out Keir Starmer, saying that the digital ID is the biblical mark of the beast. He's shooting people straight.
Vuelva atrás. Quiero hablarles a ustedes, niños y adolescentes, a la
he's speaking
generación que tendrá la enorme responsabilidad.
He's speaking his native language. Let me read the translations. Now I want to speak to you, the children and teenagers, to the generation that will have the enormous responsibility of continuing to move El Salvador forward and never letting us return to our past. You are responsible for El Salvador never again returning to the past. It will be up to you to learn, grow, and take advantage of the opportunities before you. Computers, the personal safety to study, and the spaces to dream big. These spaces we are still restoring by building schools, but we are making progress. It's also up to you to do your part, to show respect and value your teachers, your parent, and honor your parents, and feel proud of this country that belongs to you, because you will take El Salvador even further than we might be able to. You are the protagonist of this day, in this celebration, and for this new El Salvador. In your impeccable uniforms and your proud voices singing our national anthem is the proof that we are now a different country. I think where was he admitting it, talking about the mark of the beast? Anyway, that's very, very powerful speech from President Nayib Bukele. I thought I screened this beforehand. I thought he was going to mention the digital ID and how it is the mark of the beast, but apparently that's in an article somewhere. The most important part is that people are recognizing the threat that we are under. And so we hit this segment hard. I wanted to get through this stuff as fast as possible. I think our audience is very well aware of what digital ID is and its overall end goal. But with this stuff flooding the feed, I thought it was important for us to get it up here. So we're going to go ahead and close out this segment with a couple videos, and then we'll catch you guys on the other side. Here is a quick little video basically saying that the Austrian painter might have been right.
A satanic power had taken over our whole country, which had been able to occupy key positions in our intellectual and spiritual life and in our political and economic life. From these key positions, they were able to control and monitor the whole nation. This power has at the same time the ability to persecute legally those who fight against it and prevent others from creating a resistance.
I don't know how else to say this to you people at home. These are the last years of freedom. Our children are never going to experience what we experienced. We're going to have electric cars, which will be zone controlled, which will turn off if you go into the wrong zone or turn off on certain days of the week. We're going to have money, which they control completely and absolutely, CBDCs, which they can freeze at any moment or only allow you to spend it on certain things or only allow you to spend it in certain areas. This is the beginning of the absolute end. We're entering complete tyranny and slavery. Nobody seems to give a shit. I don't.
There is no such thing as its freedom. There is no such thing as democracy. Please stop listening to the mainstream media. Please stop listening to the Western world speaking about United Nations, human rights. This is evil. Nonsense. They have enslaved the human race under the banner of human rights. I beg you, they have enslaved the human being under the banner of human rights. There is no freedom in the world. The world is placed in the bosom of Satan, the killer of mankind. A snake, the poisonous cobra. Satan likes to do things in disguise, in quietness, in the depth. But the Lord forced him to surface up. He wants humanity to see. He's opening the eyes of those who are willing to listen to Christ. Those who are willing to listen to Christ, He is opening your eyes. What has been happening in recent years, it is absolute satanic. But all done in the name of human rights, democracy, United Nation.
These shows aren't some genre and, ooh, they're entertaining and wow, this guy's intense. Why do you think I'm intense? I'm under total attack. I've been hunted for decades by these people. They've attacked my whole family. Our family's never been stronger because we're not wimps and we understand we're doing God's work. But I'm in a war, and you better realize you are too. Do you understand that? My God, they've killed over 30 million people with the poison shots. They flood us with fentanyl. They're absolutely, in every major public and most private schools with grants, secretly brainwashing your sons and daughters to think they're another sex and make them totally mentally ill and then be mutilated, chemically or surgically. It is a devil cult. It's the same program worldwide. It's BlackRock. It's the New World Order. It's the transhumanist on record. They say the future's not human. They're building this nightmare world, and we're simply saying no. And we're valiantly fighting, because on the other end of this, if we fail, is total enslavement and a nightmare hellscape. So just understand, you think I want to do this? You think I want to fight 18 hours a day? You think I want to do all this just so I can act tough? No, I've got to do it. Somebody walks up to me and punches me in the nose, or somebody walks up to me and it punches my kid in the head. I'm not happy about it, but I'm going to get pissed off and I'm going to go after them. It's the same thing in politics, folks. How much are you going to take? You got to get vocal, you got to get informed, you got to get engaged, you got to spend money and support the people that are at the tip of the spear. You've got to amplify all that, and you should get vocal and you should get engaged as well. I know a lot of you are, but man, you got to do this with urgency. You're like, oh, it sounds like work.
I don't know, man. That sounds like a lot of work.
No, you're meant to do this. And the future is so dark if you don't, but we're turning the tide. We're winning. But they're going to false flag. They're going to pull out the stops. They've already implemented the Podesta plan. Everything I told you is happening. But they're totally freaked out. And all over the news just saying, he's on his last gasp. Get him off. The Democrats, the senators, just get him off. Just get him off. Just shut him off. Because I got their number. I got their name. I got their ass. And their little minions, most of them are compartmentalized. They don't know how all this works. They're getting decompartmentalized. A lot of them aren't pure evil, are waking up and joining us and whistleblowing, or just walking away. You can do that too. Just walk away. Run up the white flag, because you're in a war against us, and we're winning, and we're going to win. And where your bosses are taking you is hellish. The only way you fail is not joining us. Admit you're the bad guys. Some of you can admit that to yourself. You're not totally turned over to evil yet. Be like Darth Vader. Throw your political system lovingly, nonviolently down the reactor shaft. Become honorable for once. It's exhilarating. It's a blessing to fight evil. It's so animating, as Thomas Jefferson said, the animating contest of liberty. You have to live the life of Thomas Jefferson to really read Thomas Jefferson. And then it's so much stronger.